well, if I was playing and I had that chance to go overseas, I'd want to go overseas because it seems to me that learning that overseas game helps you tremendously when you come over to the NBA because you have everything that you might not have got in college, especially if you leave early and you're not able to jump right to the NBA. You learn a lot of those fundamentals and a lot of those things that you need to succeed in the NBA. A lot of people are learning them overseas.
But it's just it's a frustrating thing. Like, I mean, I can't speak for Kentucky fans, but because they've got the #1 recruiting class again next year.
Yeah, they love it.
But they love it, but eventually it's going to run out.
They love it.
The one and done thing needs to stop. I really think it's so you can't get attached to a player.
No.
That's why I use the Christian Laettner thing for an example. That's why he is still so vilified. He was there for 4 years, handing people their tail.
Yep.
That's why you had those dynasties. That's why Duke in the early 90s was such a great thing to watch. Mm-hmm. That's why UCLA. But people don't realize at one point in the 1960s, freshmen weren't even eligible to play.
Yeah, they had to play on a freshman team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like the quality of the game was that much better. Mm-hmm. But it's never going to stop. It's just feeding the cash cow. But I look at the NCAA tournament. It never ceases to disappoint. Even this year, there's always several intriguing stories. But could you imagine if you still had Andrew Wiggins, you still had Jabari Parker, Anthony Davis? I mean, that would have been a whole different. Imagine if Carmelo Anthony had to stay 4 years.
Oh yeah. If most of them guys that left early. Imagine if like people like Kevin Garnett or let's say
Kobe Bryant, LeBron James
would have had to go to college. How much fun the college game would have been with guys like that having to go into college. Not necessarily Kwame Brown, but
but if you look at it, I mean, if you really look at it, none of these guys experienced success in the NBA, true success in the NBA, until they were in their late 20s. I think Kobe was 22 when he won with Shaq, maybe 22, 23.
Yeah.
So he had been a senior at that time. I mean, he's the youngest one to experience success.
Yeah.
LeBron James had been in the league for 8 years, 9 years before he got his ring.
Yeah. Garnett was there for a while too. Yeah.
But then at the same time, on the counter argument that you look at Greg Oden.
Yeah.
Greg Oden got hurt in college.
Well, look at Kwame Brown.
Yeah, I mean it's a double-edged sword. But I think the college fans suffer because of the one and done rule.
Yeah, I wish they would put something in for at least 2 to 3 years that you have to stay in school. And I know they're coming out. I've heard tell of a new rule that's going to be if you're coming in from high school into the thing, you have the option to leave after 1 year. But if your draft status is not at this certain point, that they're going to keep you in school.
I think that's good. People argue at 18 this and they can die for their country. That's good. But at the same time, the NCAA needs to look at stimulating some of these guys' incomes.
Exactly.
That's the other ugly thing that I think makes them so scared is Shabazz Napier put a big, ugly light on the monster that is the NCAA last year with his little press conference.
And he stayed all 4 years at UConn.
Yeah, it's just hard to think, though, that you're playing for a coach a la Calipari, a la Roy Williams, Bill Self, Mike Krzyzewski, that's making $5-6 million a year.
Yeah.
And you're struggling to eat.
Mm-hmm.
When you know you can go to the next level and get paid.
Yeah,
so the NCAA would need to look definitely into what they're going to do to fix this.
And even beyond that, these guys are so hard off of getting money that people that don't necessarily need to go, these guys can turn pro. They don't necessarily have to go to the NBA. They can go overseas and make a decent living, especially if they're not getting one at home or at college, and they need the money because their financial situation is bad.
Let the kid have a job. It's simple as that. Mm-hmm. Let the kid have a job on the offseason.
Yeah, it's crazy, but the tournament so far this year, it's went the way many people have thought it was going to be. A lot of chalk, is going through right now. The cream sort of rising after the top, especially after that crazy first day that we had. Not necessarily the second day, but the first day was abnormally nuts, and everybody threw their way a bracket after the first day.
No, I did call Georgia State,
which was a phenomenal game, by the way.
I did see Georgia State taking down Iowa State.
I had UAB. I did have.
Yeah,
UAB.
I didn't have the other one.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, the cream's rising to the top. You quickly, within the first weekend, you realized who the pretenders were: Virginia, Kansas, Villanova. You realize Villanova shouldn't have been a 1 seed.
Nope, not at all.
They should not have been a 1 seed at all. That was a huge oversight to some teams out there.
They overslighted too. Yeah,
Virginia may have been seeded a little high to think about it.
Overslotted. There you go.
Yeah, but it definitely weeded up the contenders and pretenders. I appreciate how they set the bracket up to where you're not seeing the good games they've almost set the bracket to you're not seeing the good games. You're not seeing the Kentucky Notre Dame until the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
You're not seeing. I appreciate how the bracket was set up. I'm really interested to see. I want to see Kentucky and Wisconsin. I want to see Kaminsky against Willie Cauley-Stein. I think the two teams left that could have a chance to dethrone Kentucky are Duke and Wisconsin. Other than that, I think they're going to pretty much walk to 40-0.
I think Arizona could give them a little bit of fits as well, because just because Arizona has size and they have experience, so I think Arizona may be able to give them a little fits as well. But I would want to. I'm really wanting them to play Duke, and that's really the game that I want to see is them play Duke.
Well, it's just a contrast of styles.
Oh yeah.
You've got the track meet ran by Coach Krzyzewski or ran by Coach Calipari against the scientific, slow you down. It is almost the San Antonio Spurs and Miami Heat. Is what it's like.
Yeah.
It is pretty much that's what it would be like. It'd be or the Spurs and the Warriors. It's pretty much a complete contrast in styles. Yeah. One of those games where it might come down to coaching. Mm-hmm. Might come down to coaching, and I think if it has to come down to coaching, I got to give Coach K the edge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Calipari's had similar success other places, yet still only managed to win 1 ring.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, it makes you wonder.
All righty. Well, I think we're done with the NCAA talk. Last time we talked about football. You haven't been on since we done our free agency show. So I was wanting to give you a little chance to talk about some of the moves that your Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made, and what did you think overall of a lot of the signings and stuff that happened in the NFL?
The only one I was excited about that Tampa signed was Chris Conte. Yeah. The Sean Golson project in Tampa did not work out.
No.
So he just wasn't the right fit. I wasn't very excited when I saw them bring him in for the $36 million they brought him in for. I like the fact that Conte's played in Lovie Smith's defense. Maybe that'll help that very young secondary they have with Jonathan Banks and Alteron Werner back there. Mm-hmm. It might help add a little experience to the secondary.
Yeah,
that's the only the only signing I was excited about. Henry Melton was no big deal to me. Bruce Carter. I mean, we already have Levante David, Mason Foster, and Jonathan. And I didn't necessarily see the need to go get Bruce Carter, but they went and got him anyways.
Yeah.
The signings around the league that surprised me, I liked McFadden to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to fit.
Yep.
He's had an injury-prone time in Oakland, and people want to write him off. I think this will be his last shot. I think it's a good time to try to revive his career. Mm-hmm. He fits the Dallas offense into the DeMarco Murray mold, and they've often wondered about McFadden. Is he a bust, or is he a victim of a bad offensive line? Mm-hmm. Here's McFadden's chance to prove it.
Yep.
C.J. Spiller to the Saints. That's a good pickup.
Yep.
That is definitely.
He'll take on that Darren Sproles role that Darren Sproles had when he was
a bigger, faster, nastier Darren Sproles.
Yeah, much, but just as fast.
Just the same. I'm curious. I'm really curious to see some of these other draft picks, some of these other selections where they go. The draft is coming up, so that's getting a lot of people that's getting the excitement of a lot of people up. The draft is coming,
which we'll be doing a draft show, pretty much probably a week or two before the draft.
Yeah.
To get ready, because I know we're going to be going down to the draft party in here in Jacksonville. So, which I'm looking forward to the draft. I'm curious to see where a lot of these teams lead, especially you guys with the number 1 pick. And I still think it's going to be Jameis Winston. Yeah, I think it's going to be Jameis Winston. I know Lovey's throwing out a lot of smoke screens that they're impressed by a lot of other people. They want to bring in Mariota for a workout. They want to bring in Amari Cooper and Leonard Williams. So they're throwing out the smoke screens, but I think when all is said and done that Jameis Winston will be in Tampa.
Yeah, I see that coming too. There's a lot of everyone's always seems afraid, and rightfully so, to draft a quarterback with the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them. If you look traditionally throughout the last 15 years, quarterbacks going number 1. Manning, Luck, and Cam Newton are the only ones I can recall having a lot of success. You can throw Carson Palmer in there as on the second tier.
Eli
Manning.
Yeah,
but even he's second tier because he's either had great years or terrible years.
Yeah, he's had the 2 Super Bowls, but then after that he's become Eli Face Manning.
I don't really know, but out of that period of time, you've also had Tim Couch, Jamarcus Russell. I mean, you've also Sam Bradford.
Yeah, you had a lot of very sketchy. Even in the top 5, when you draft a quarterback, it's a very slippery slope to go on. Even top 10, as we know all too well here in Jacksonville.
But even then, the number 1 pick, it seems like obviously it's the scariest pick in the draft to have. Because you don't know what you're getting. Are you getting Peyton Manning, or are you getting Tim Couch?
Yeah. Well, just look at last year's number 1 pick.
Jadeveon Clowney. Yeah,
he didn't even play it. What? He played a game, and that was it.
2 games, maybe.
Yeah, it's a scary process to have that number 1 pick. I still think right now the best player in the draft is Leonard Williams out of USC. He in my mind is by far.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
with Tampa needing their 3 technique defensive tackle after dropping $100 million on Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, and that's something y'all don't need, but that would be the guy that would be the best player in the draft. I think Amari Cooper is right up there with being one of the best players in the draft as well.
But again, that comes down to number 7 pick last year was a wide receiver. Do they need to go out and grab another wide receiver?
I think y'all would be more than happy. A lot of people in Tampa would be more than happy to get in Jameis Winston.
If
that was the pick.
Yeah, there's the off the field issues, of course, but Mariota, everything about Mariota, he seems too easygoing. He's not. He don't have that fire.
He's Hawaiian.
What?
He's Hawaiian. Those people are usually easygoing.
But he just doesn't have that fire. If anybody comes out that they're going to be a bust, I'm thinking it's going to be Mariota.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been protected at Oregon because they've called the offense to help him out. The offense has been designed to help him out. So he has been slightly protected at Oregon. So I wonder if he's going to be able to. Is he going to be able to deliver? Is he going to be? It's a lot of questions that they bring up. A lot of questions.
Yeah, as much as we give Jameis Winston flack and everything, I think he'll be okay when he comes to the pros. I think he'll be able to handle himself, and I think he won't make those stupid decisions just because if he knows one little slip up here or there, and he might be done.
No, it's not just that either. It's look who he's around. I've said if anybody can handle a troubled quarterback, no one really applauds the effort that nobody applauds the effort that Ray or that Lovie Smith did with Jay Cutler.
Yeah, did a very good job with Jay.
So I mean, Lovie Smith might be the right place to be at. It's just a matter of It's just a matter of what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
But I think he's the best option.